order. Before we start, we'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Randall will lead us in that.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The following matters will come before the Revere License Commission today at our regularly scheduled meeting. The first order of business will be the approval of the minutes of the March 20th meeting, 2019. Is there a motion for that?
Motion to approve.
Second motion.
The minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda are applications submitted for consideration. The first one today, we're going to take it a little out of order, will be item number 4, La Squina del Sabor, Inc., 1 Unity Avenue. This is an application for a change of number of hours to Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., Friday, Saturday, 6 a.m. to 3 a.m. Current hours are 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. This is a continuation from the March meeting. Is there anybody here for La Squina del Sabor?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, James Cipolletta, 385 Broadway, Revere, on behalf of the licensee. Diego is here with me and can answer any questions and give you an update as to the things that needed to be done at the establishment the last time we were before the Commission. I think maybe it would be more logical if you had questions that you wanted answered, I can answer them. Any unfinished business that the inspectors may have passed along to the Commission, we can address that too.
Well, we do have some unfinished business from the previous meeting. We had an issue regarding a fire inspection, and I don't believe that issue has been resolved yet.
The inspection by the private company has been done. The information's been sent over, and they're waiting for the fire department to issue the certificate.
Okay, so at this point, you don't have the certificate?
We don't have the fire department certificate. We have the certification that goes from the vendor to the fire department, but we do not have the physical certificate from the city.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Well, I don't have any questions right now. I think I would like to hear from the ward council. I have no problem going ahead with this, contingent on them showing us the approval from the fire department. So I don't mind going on with this hearing, but I would like to hear from the ward councilor to see what she has to say and if I have any questions after that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Up to my comment.
Do you have any questions, Commissioner? Very good. Name and address.
Thank you. Joanne McKenna, Ward 1 Councilor. I totally support small businesses in my ward, and I think Diego's been a great neighbor. But when a business wants to stay open on weekends until 3 a.m., I'm totally against it. For 3 purposes. For number 1, we have it's a thick. Beachman Square is a thickly settled area. None of the establishments around there stay open until 11 o'clock. They shut down. Luigi's has a full liquor license. They close at 11 o'clock. That's first of all. Second of all, the business abuts 4 houses on Unity Ave. All right, it's right next door to a residential house. There's 4 houses on that street. You can park on the other side of the street, and that's where businesses park. So these people are going to endure noise pollution, they're going to endure music, loud music or whatever, and people getting in and out of their cars to go to this establishment at 3 o'clock. I think the only establishment in Revere that's open until 3 o'clock is Kelly's, and that's down the beach. You're talking about a thickly settled area with houses around it, and people coming in from clubs maybe, going into this establishment to eat at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm totally against it. I just want it to be known on the record that I'm against this. I think it will disrupt the quality of living for these residents. And also, I think it will, like I said, it will bring noise pollution to the area. Right now, it's a quiet area after 11 o'clock, and I don't want to see anything after that. So that's all I have. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Councilor. If I could just ask you one question, so 11 o'clock is a time that you would be comfortable with?
I would be comfortable for 11 o'clock on the weekends, but he couldn't stay, he couldn't milk it and stay open after 11 o'clock. We have the Beachmont Liquor Store stays open until 11 o'clock. We have Luigi's that stays open until 11 o'clock. So I don't see a problem. I would like to work with him and stay open until 11 o'clock, but not 3 a.m. I'm sorry. And you just bring trouble down there when it's at 2 and 3, after 11, when there's nothing opened. I think it's going to be a disaster. So I'm totally against this, but I would be willing to have him stay open until 11 o'clock, because I do want to work with small businesses down there. And he, like I said, he's been a great neighbor to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there any proponents out there, or is anybody in favor of this proposal? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that section. Are there any other opponents? Is there anybody else that would be opposed to this? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that section. Councilor, do you have something you'd like to add?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just a couple of points that I think we made at the first hearing. It is a business district, and I understand that there are some houses around it. I grew up in the Beachmont area. I'm pretty well familiar with it. There is an MBTA station close by as well, and those trains run until pretty late on the weekends. Diego does not serve liquor, doesn't have a liquor license, doesn't want one at this point, and he doesn't play music. I do understand that the councilor's concerns, but there are reasons why the Beachmont Business District is the Beachmont Business District, and he is right in the middle of it. I don't see, and maybe there is a case to be made for some noise of people getting in and out of cars, and maybe it's going to be late and some people are going to be noisy, but that would happen anywhere, anytime, and I don't think that there's anything about his establishment that necessarily would promote that kind of behavior. I don't think we've had any violations or any complaints of that nature to this point.
No, I don't think anybody has a problem with the gentleman operating the restaurant, and according to the ward councilor, he's been a fine neighbor. I think what the concern is people coming there 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning after they've had a night of partying. Maybe they flip open the door, crank up the radio, sit there, eat his delicious food, and meanwhile neighbors are tossing and turning trying to get back to sleep. So, I mean, I'm hoping that we can come to some kind of a resolution, some kind of a compromise that may satisfy the councilor and her constituents as well as satisfy this gentleman here. So
I think it's worth pursuing.
Doesn't look like it's going to make it. Just from talking to my fellow commissioners and what I'm hearing here, but I mean, I don't know how you want to.
Well, I understand that the commission may not act on this pending the outstanding certifications and allowances that might be coming from the other departments. So maybe that gives some time as well.
Council, I got a question. So it looks like it's a pretty extreme jump from 10:30 to 3 o'clock. It's like 4.5 hours, if my math is correct. So I guess the question is, why this significant increase in hours of operation versus starting off at, applying to 12 midnight or something like that?
12 might be reasonable.
I'm just curious, why did he pick 3?
I could give you that question, that answer.
I'm sorry?
I said I could give you. People that are coming back from the clubs.
Yeah.
So that's what, that is exactly what it is. So the clubs get out, I'm sorry about this.
That's my,
The
that,
trains stop at 12 o'clock.
correct.
So even, I mean, these people are going to come in their cars. And he abuts,
Yeah.
so he's one unity out.
Can you step up to the mic? He can't have her.
Counselor, could you step up to the mic?
So the trains stop at 12 or 12:30. I think it's even on the weekends. But so these people are going to be coming probably from clubs. And the other thing is that he is 1 Unity Ave. Right next door to him, on the hill, is a residential, it's a house. It's 4 Unity Ave, and then there's 7 Unity Ave, and 12 Unity Ave, and then I think it's 14 Unity Ave. There's 4 or 5 houses on that street. Permanent parking on that side where the residential is, but across the street is 2-hour parking for the businesses. So I'm sure if he has a number of people, they're going to be parking on Unity Ave. They're not going to be parking along State Road. That's where they can park. So I just think I will work with him until 11 o'clock, but I won't go past that. I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm trying to protect the residents of Beachmont Square, and I understand it's a business district, but it's also a residential district too. There are residential, right? He has his place, and then there's a house right next to him. So, and then there are houses around the corner and across the street. So I'm totally against this. Thank you.
So Counsel,
I guess.
what would be, I'm sorry, Cipolletta, sorry, wrong counsel, you're still a counsel. What would be, if you could, if you can't get to 3, what would be workable for you guys? As
I
an
think
alternative?
realistically, because it is a weekend, midnight is probably a good place to start and see how that works out. And it's not catering to the people coming after the 2 o'clock closings or the 1 o'clock closing from surrounding communities. So it would be prior to the closing of the liquor establishments.
Counselor, is your client had any discussions with the abutters on this issue?
No, he tells me that he hasn't specifically talked to them about the increased hours, but he has a good relationship with all his neighbors.
Very good, thank you.
I guess what my concern is, I understand what you're saying, and again, I am for small businesses, as you can see throughout the city. My concern is, what are we doing here? You want to stay open, say the license was granted, of course, not till 3 o'clock, but the extension of the hours. My concern would be the other businesses surrounding your business. Are they going to be up here asking for 1, 2, 3 o'clock? So I guess that's more of my concern. I've seen it happen throughout the city. We extend hours, whether on Revere Beach, we've had issues where we've extended certain privileges, and then we've had 2 and 3 other businesses come up to do the same, and they have full right to if one is allowed. So I guess that's my concern that I have to take into consideration here also. And always the ward councilor means a lot to me, that any ward councilor who represents that ward, I would have to say they know more than I do about the area. I'm not even familiar with Unity Ave. So I would have to listen to Councilor McKenna on how she feels about this. I do say 10:30, again, you're 10:30, the businesses around you are 11 o'clock. So I think you should be 11 o'clock also. But I personally would have to listen to the ward councilor on this, on her opinion as to what's going on and the neighbors in that area. And this is where I wish the neighbors would get more involved and come up and express their feelings and let us know how they feel about it, along with the counselor. But at this point, I would have to go along with the counselor. I think an extension of 11 o'clock would be fine with me.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do you have anything else to add, Commissioner?
Well, I think, I guess it comes back to you guys. What are you proposing? Obviously, 3 o'clock isn't going to be working. So what are you proposing that I guess we can vote on that, correct? Is that what we're doing? I'm not going to come up with a proposal,
It would
it's
have to
not my
be,
restaurant.
we would need a motion to vote on it. Is there a motion? There's no motion to be voted on at the moment.
There's no proposal, 'cause-
Well, the proposal is 3 AM. Do you have an alternative motion that you'd like to propose?
no, I'm not going to approve on the 3 AM, but is that, are we leaving it open for them to come back with a different proposal?
Well, I think that would be more, that we should make a motion on what we would like to see there.
That would be my recommendation. So I don't have a problem with a midnight closing. I think that is reasonable. I understand the counselor, is looking for 11, but I kind of feel like it is a business district. There are trains running. There's, activity in that area, so that the midnight to me would be okay. I don't sense there's much support for that, but.
Well, I kind of agree with you, but I think what we'd have to do is lights out at 12, so stop serving at 11:30. People can't roll in there 5 to 12. They have to be out by 12, and that would be the latest I'd be okay with.
That makes sense because it sort of runs parallel to the way you run your liquor license, although it's not a liquor license. So that kind of makes sense, because somebody being served at 12, and it's a hot meal, they could actually linger. And I know that's not the spirit of the request, so, lights out, people gone, 12 o'clock.
And that's just on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, correct?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor McKenna?
Thank you. I would agree with that, but could we put an amendment on it and say, maybe 90 days and see what happens in that 90 days to see if there's any conflict with the police, or would the police have to be called or anything? But I'll be in agreement with 12 o'clock. That's fine with me.
So you want to do it on a trial basis?
Trial basis.
Sure.
Maybe 90 days, 3 months, and see what happens, because the summer months are coming, and that's when the people come out. And let's just see if we get any calls from, disturbance calls or anything. Or if the residents do come to me and say, we can't do this. So if we can put it on a trial basis, but I'm agreeable with 12 o'clock.
Great, thank you very much, Councilor. We
welcome.
appreciate the input. So the motion is this: we will allow the hours to be changed. The application for the change of hours will be approved till midnight, and we'll do it on a 90-day trial basis.
And that's contingent.
And that's contingent on that fire inspection certificate arriving at our office, okay? So,
Yes. I just made that note.
thank you very much. Do I have a second on that motion?
Just before I second it, so just to be clear, on the 90-day probation, if there's a complaint that comes back, do we pull them back, or are we just going to review it at that time?
We'll review it and we'll discuss it and see what the remedy would be. If it looks like a remedy is to roll it back, then we roll it back. If there's another remedy, we will address that remedy. Hopefully by then, we'll have a body of evidence to work off of, and we'll be able to know exactly what that looks like going forward. Okay, so the motion for a change of hours is approved till 12 midnight for Friday, Saturday. Was that what it was, just Friday?
Second the motion.
Friday through Sunday. The motion was seconded by Commissioner LaCroix.
Well, not yet. I didn't.
No,
Oh, you did
yes.
not?
I will, but just want to make sure that everyone's understanding is at 12 o'clock, it's like a liquor store, it shuts off, people can't. So please do not start, 10 of, serving a client, and then 15 minutes, it's 12:15, you need to shut down. So however the operations work, you need to have that known, okay?
Understood.
I'll second that motion then.
The motion is approved. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, Counselor. This will be item number 1. Argueta e Pinache Corp., TBA Nino's Restaurant and Bar, 7B Everett Street. Julia Duarte Alarcon is the manager. This is an application for a change of hours. The application is for a change of hours to Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m., Sunday, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. The current hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Speaking on behalf of the corporation?
Arcania Valera, I'm just going to translate for Sergio Pichet, who's the owner.
Very good, thank you. And what are your plans for these additional hours?
Where Mr. Pichet and Nino's Restaurant and Bar wants to open later because they do cater to the Comfort Inn, Hampton Inn, and Holiday Inn to the tourists. In Boston in the summertime, there's a lot of tourism, and people do stay out later at night. So he has clients coming in right now to dine at 9 p.m. and has to be closed by 11 p.m. at night. So he wants to extend his hours to be able to cater to all the tourism around him. He's in a plaza. He's not in a residential area. So he feels that the extension of hours is going to allow his business to grow and cater to the tourism.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any comments or?
No, I don't have any questions. Again, yours is a business that is really fully business district, and there is plenty of parking there. I'm just wondering, do you think you've got that type of business that is going to attract people that late in the evening?
Yes, he feels that way because he has clients right now coming in at 9 p.m. to dine, and he has to close by 11, so it doesn't give them enough time to have plenty of time to dine, enjoy perhaps a glass of wine and some music at the same time, some light entertainment. There's no entertainment right now. There will be no entertainment, but just he doesn't feel that there's enough time for them to be at ease. And in the summer times, that people do stay out late, and the hotels are right there. They're walking distance.
Okay. Now, it seems like a very nice restaurant. I haven't been in there, unfortunately. But it is in a business district. You have plenty of parking there. And again, this board has a right at any time to change hours, whether it works or it doesn't work, or extend the hours. So, it's not something I'm concerned with about changing hours. Because we know we can always reverse them at any time if it doesn't work out. But you do have a beautiful place there. I do go by there. And there is plenty of parking, and there is no residential anywhere near you.
No.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
Thank you.
So you guys are open till 18 hours a day?
Yes,
Your new proposal?
yes, the proposal is to be for 8 a.m. serve breakfast for the hotel, for the people at the hotel that don't have breakfast in the hotel, serve lunch for them as well, dinner, and then late snacks or late food.
So who's going to be running? Do you have multiple managers? Are you?
The manager's not here today. She couldn't be here today, but it's Sergio and his brother who run the business, and there's other staff as well. So they're going to have enough staffing to run the place, and him and his brother will be there at all times.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a couple questions. Now, usually when I see things going to 2 a.m., are you going to keep it a restaurant, or are you going to try and bring in entertainment and make it a nightclub?
No nightclub, no entertainment for now. Just keep it a restaurant, and of course it has a bar, but last call will be at 12:30.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much. You have anything else you'd like to add? Thank you. I'll close that section. Are there any proponents out there? Anybody that wants to speak in favor of this? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that section. Are there any opponents? Anybody opposed to this? I don't see any. I will close that section. I don't have a problem with this particular proposal. I don't know how my commissioners feel, but I'd be inclined to go along with approving it. So I'll make a motion to approve this change of hours. Is there a second for that?
I'll second the motion, as long as it stays a restaurant. But your license is a restaurant license, so it can't be changed. Okay. I'll second that motion.
Very good. The motion is approved. The application for a change of hours for Nino's Restaurant and Bar to Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. The current hours of operation, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Item number 2, Royal Food Enterprises, Inc., DBA Sabrine Bakery and Cafe, 91 Centennial Avenue. Youssef Yassin is the manager. This is an application for a temporary change of hours. The application of Royal Food Enterprises, DBA Sabrine Bakery and Cafe, for a temporary extension of hours to accommodate the needs of patrons during the period of Ramadan. Requested extension is to close at 2 a.m. The current closing is 10 p.m. And the requested period for this extension is May 5th, 2019 through June 5th, 2019. Is there anybody from Royal Food Enterprises, Inc. present? I don't see anyone, so we will close that section. Are there any proponents? Don't see any. We'll close that section. Any opponents? Don't see any. We'll close that section. I don't know. I don't have a problem proceeding without them here, but if you do,
I
we
would
will
prefer
put
to
them up.
have them present. I did have a couple of questions, and also I did think that the Ward 2 Council may be showing up. So if my board doesn't mind, maybe we can put this at the end of the agenda and see if anyone shows up. If not, we would hold it over.
It would appear that if we pull this over till the next meeting, however, it will be after the date requested. So we'll move it back.
May 5th. Okay, why don't we take it up again at the end of the meeting and
Very
see if
good.
someone shows up?
Item number 3, Shadia's LLC, DBA Wraps on the Beach, 425 Revere Beach Boulevard. Sahir Abdal Hadi is the LLC manager. This is an application for outdoor seating. The application of Wraps on the Beach for outdoor seating. Requested seating is for 24 at 3 tables. Speaking on behalf of the corporation? Your name and
Sure. My name is Sahir Abdelhadi. You can call me Sam. It's easier. And I represent Shadia's LLC, which is Wraps on the Beach.
Very good. And what are your plans here, sir? What would you like to do with this seating?
Actually, just to give the place the look of the beach, that's number one. And at the same time, hopefully we can have some people using them while they are eating in our restaurant. Like an outside seating, basically to feel the feeling of the beach at the same time.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Yes, I've gone by there. I do see the tables still out there, and you haven't used them as of yet. But one thing I do before I hear my commissioners, I see that you've just put them on the sidewalk. Do you have any plans of kind of roping them off or making some kind of border? Because sometimes the people have pulled those chairs out and they're in the middle of the sidewalk.
Correct.
Do you have any plans on?
Well, actually, this is a good question. Actually, today, actually, I was planning on either like fastening them up to the ground or like tightening them up towards the fence so they don't move around and no one can move them from their place. But regarding a rope around them or something, I don't know, I'm open to any suggestion. If you think that we should do such a thing like that, I will do it myself.
Well, if you look at, there are a few places on the beach, there's several
Antonio's.
actually that have outdoor seating. And if you go down to Antonio's or you go to Renzo's, they kind of put planters and then just a rope, just a little, just very small, because I have seen those chairs, as you I'm sure know, they drag those chairs way out on the sidewalk. And I don't know, you have brought the okay from the DCR, and I don't know how much footage they have given you to use as the sidewalk. Is there a plan?
Actually, there should be a plan and there should be a permit issued for us to have them outside. And I'm still waiting for the papers, the documents to come from the DCR, but there should be no problem whatsoever, like,
So you don't have
we fulfilled their needs. We should, according to the DCR, we should be okay to have the seats outside. And I don't know if they are going to be issuing anything for us, but they are okay with it.
Well, they usually give us some kind of notification. They did send it. Oh, okay, I did not receive that, I'm sorry, I guess it was
No
through an
problem, it's
email.
all right.
But usually it's a footage, so much footage that they allow you to use. So I would think that if it is approved today, I would like to see a little border of how much they've allowed you to use of the sidewalk.
Sure, I can supply you with all these documents once I receive them from them. There should be no problem.
Okay, because I know they're very limited on the space that they allow you to use. So you'll just be serving your sandwiches outside, people will be there. What do you have, 3 tables out there now?
Correct,
Mike?
only 3 tables.
3
Yes.
tables, and how many chairs?
They could fit 12 my size, but if there are petite people, it could fit 24 people.
Okay.
Yeah,
And your hours, you're looking for 2 o'clock?
we still have the same hours. There is no request for any changes of hours in the place.
Well, the outdoor seating hours are a little different in the city than the inside. You could have a 2 o'clock license, but outdoor seating is a different time frame, and a different time of year also,
I see.
that you can use that. It's seasonal,
Okay, okay.
so. Okay, Commissioner, do you have something you want to add to that? I mean, I'm just trying to get the facts before because I see these tables are being put around, and there's like no border.
I'm so
and-
sorry. I didn't even know that I had to come in front of the board because of
Yeah.
these tables, trust me.
Well, it's okay, it's just DCI, I would need that in writing, and just how much footage you can use.
Sure, I'll supply you with those.
The tables that you currently have, they're all one unit? Or
Each-
do the seats separate from the table?
No,
Or are
they're
they all
independent.
one unit?
Correct, so no one can toss the
So you're not
chairs
going to
around
be
or
dragging
things like that,
the
exactly.
tables around?
That's why we chose this kind of tables.
Very good. Okay. Do you have any questions, Commissioner?
So your license right now is till 1 o'clock?
Till 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
And we've been using it most of the time till 11 p.m. if you look at our website. But we would love to open till 2 a.m. It's just,
So I guess
Didn't
my,
tell me.
my thinking is, I mean, outdoor seating down the beach is very, very seasonal, limited. You're talking July, August, sometimes June, and it's too cold. So we're not talking a long period of time.
that's correct.
It's not resident, I mean, I know you have some apartments and condos there. Yeah, I really don't have a problem with it, as long as policed correctly and you don't take up the whole sidewalk.
Right.
But I guess see what my colleagues say. But we'll see what they have to say.
Sure.
All right. Very good, sir. Thank you very much.
I would like to, excuse me, I forgot before this started. I received a call from Counselor John Powers, who's the ward counselor there. Unfortunately, he was in a little accident, has been hospitalized, and couldn't be here this evening. But he did want to express to the board that he's concerned about the outdoor seating. Kelly's has outdoor seating, and with the Jack Satter House, I guess there, it is very disruptive to the people who live in that building, so they were concerned about the 2 o'clock outdoor seating. And as far as I know, no one on the beach has 2 o'clock outdoor seating. But I did want to put that into the record that Council Powers did get in touch with the board and did let us know that would not be approving 2 o'clock outdoor seating.
I see. If I may, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I don't know I don't know if you have any kind of suggestion. What can we do at night? Like, I don't know, like we're going to be having signs that only our customers can have seats on those tables. And these signs are being made right now. It's just I couldn't use the tables themselves until I get your approval.
Right.
So I don't know what can we do about it. I mean,
I
is
don't
there any
have a
suggestion?
problem with outdoor seating. I have a problem with the hours of outdoor seating.
Yeah. I mean, we can, do you want me to cover them after a certain time? I don't know if it's
Well, they
doable.
shut them down. The other businesses just shut them down. They don't do any service outside. And, oh, for you, because you have like a takeout, the other Antonio's, Renzo's, they just shut them right down. There is no service outside.
Correct.
You would have to put notice on the tables, or, I don't really know how you would
I'm sure I'll
want
try to
handle
figure
that.
something out. If you like,
could.
I can put a sign, no seating after 1 o'clock or something, or at 12, after 12, I don't know.
Well, the latest that I'm aware of outdoor seating is 11 o'clock. No one has outdoor seating after 11 o'clock, except for the one business on the beach that
It's right
has
on the beach,
special
yeah.
permission,
Yeah.
and that's through DCR, their property.
You are more than welcome to come up with any kind, you can come by the place and just tell me anything that you want us to do, any kind of suggestion, and we will do it, absolutely.
No, I would think you would just do like everyone else does, whatever the hours are that the commission gives this evening, you would just have to make sure that your tables are not used after those hours, because they are out there, people will come by and try to sit down, and that's why they're roped off too, they have more control.
I see. Okay, so can we leave the restaurant as is, the hours, even
Yes,
though
the
we're
hours of the
not, even
restaurant
though
would
we're
be
not
left
using
as it
it?
is. It would
Yeah.
just be that you,
Excellent.
as people got stuff and started to go to the table, you'd have to tell them, I'm sorry, there's no outdoor seating after 11 o'clock.
After 11 o'clock?
Right. But you
Summertime
don't,
is like midday.
you don't have to take the tables in, though. They
Right,
can stay out.
right.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna be so heavy. But the maximum is 11 o'clock then.
I beg your pardon?
The maximum for outside seating would be 11 o'clock, 11 p.m.
Well, I think that's probably something that you can get past. I mean, I don't know. There really isn't, per se, maximum or minimum amount of hours. It's,
I see.
you know, it goes on the location and what the abutters are interested in and what, you know, what type of a situation are you going to be running there. I don't have a problem with it, but I know that some people do.
Right.
So, you know, you're going to have to work within the framework of
Absolutely,
of
absolutely.
everybody here. So, what would you think would be reasonable?
For the outside seating,
Yes.
let's say till, actually, by the way, I'm sorry. We are open, we are supposed to be open till 2 a.m., but we've been closing, we've been open till 11 p.m., hoping that the summer will come and then we'll start business again. As you know, there is no business during the winter time. It's loss of money. But I forced the business to stay open, basically, like, even though we're not doing it over there. So I'm trying to do, I think it will be till 12. I think till midnight, it would be nice to have the outside seating. And I'm sure it's not going to bother anybody, or I hope if I find out that it's going to bother someone, we'll change it.
Well, again, my concern, again, like the last applicant, and I do like to work with the ward councilors, I think they do a great job, they know what's going on. Should this board approve 12 o'clock, then I can see at least 4 other places coming up till 12 o'clock. So
I see.
that's my concern again.
I see. Okay.
And we have limited them, as a matter of fact, we had 10 o'clock, we started at 10 o'clock. We've just recently, we went 10:30, now we're given 11 o'clock. So this vote tonight really, to me, means, what do I want to do with 4 other businesses on the beach? Because if I allow one till 12 o'clock, then they certainly have the right to be open till 12 o'clock. So that's my concern, not your business, has nothing to do with your business. I mean, these other business, they stay open till 2 o'clock, unlike you, they do stay open till 2.
Correct.
But they don't use the tables, they come in at 11 o'clock.
I see.
So I guess, again, that's my concern. I know, speaking to the ward councilor, he did, I don't want to speak for the people that live there. I didn't speak to them personally. He was going to be here with them, unfortunately. He's in the hospital, so
That's
I'm
unfortunate.
going to go by what he had said, and Truthfully, I think 11 o'clock is probably, would be my vote, would be 11 o'clock, only because I don't want 4 or 5 other applicants up here till 12 o'clock. So I'm going to leave the vote up to my commissioners.
Do you have anything to add?
No.
Would you like to make a motion?
Well, I think my motion's going to be outdoor seating at 11 o'clock. I didn't think I was going to get a second here, so I'll make a motion that you're approved for outdoor seating till 11 o'clock, and you would put signs on there, and you would rope it off so the people just don't come and sit at those tables.
But if I may, would you like to give it like a trial? Let's say, let's try it for a month or 2 and see how it works with the current hours. And if there's going to be any kind of noise or if it's going to be annoying, we can always come back and say we can change the hours of outside seating. Because I still think that 11 o'clock at night, for 11 o'clock at night in the summertime, the beach, still like, it's almost, the sun is still out there.
It's beautiful. I'm down there all the time. It's absolutely
It's
beautiful.
only 1 month or 2.
But I'm going to have 4 other applicants going to be up for 12 o'clock. Now we're going to have 12 o'clock all along the beach. So I made a motion that the tables would be out until 11 o'clock. I would approve that till 11 o'clock. And as I said, it's up to my colleagues if anybody wants a second motion.
My comment is, I think it's such a seasonal, short period of time that you'll have outdoor seating, because it does get, outside July, August, it stays cool down there. You're not going to have a lot of it. I don't agree on 2 a.m. I think, especially weekends, 12 a.m. is probably more of my thought process or what I think is fair. So I'm not going to support the motion of 11 o'clock, but I'll make a counter motion of 12. Because it's seasonal, the rest of the year, it's not going to be in play.
Correct.
If the other owners come up, then we vote on them case-by-case basis. I'm not going to penalize you based on, what they may or may not do. I'm making my decision based on what's in front of us today. If they come up, they come up, and then we approach it then. So I'm making a motion to do 12 a.m. For this establishment.
I've had a place down the beach for a while, so I kind of know what you're going through. I had a business down there, a food business, for a few years, so I know it's a very short season. I also know you're going to have difficulty policing this because people are just going to walk by and sit there. So it's going to have to be incumbent on you to really make an effort to make sure that people aren't sitting there, because that'll end up being the thing that will end up ending the whole thing. I'm going to approve, or at least I'm going to second my fellow commissioner's motion for a midnight deadline on the seats. And I'm going to put similar to what we did with the last person, I'm going to put a 3-month window on it. And we'll see what it looks like at the end of the summer. If it looks like, let's see, April, May, June, well, I guess toward the middle of the summer, we'll see what it looks like. And if things are not moving or there seem to be problems as a result of this, then we're going to have to take steps to remedy that.
Correct.
All right, so I'm going to vote to approve this motion. So your application is approved for outdoor seating, 3 tables, 24 seats until midnight.
Thank you so much.
And
24 seats outside?
that's what it is, 3 tables, 24 seats. There's 8 at a table.
2, 4, 6, 8 times 3.
I thought it was 4 at a table. 8 at a table?
Two at each bench, right? 2, 4, 6, 8?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
24, you have 3 tables.
Correct.
24 seats.
Correct.
Okay, so the application for your outdoor seating is approved. The requested seating is 24. The caveat is that you have to have people out of the seats at midnight, and it's a 3-month trial. You come back in 3 months, and we'll take a look at
I
it.
would like to add to that, that there was some kind of barrier around those seats so that people...
And the seats have to be cordoned off.
Cornered off.
Okay, so you know, like they have in the bank, the little,
Yes,
the things they
like
put
the
up,
ones they have in banks.
something like that.
Just planted, some of them was just planted.
A velvet rope, a lot of people use. I'm not sure how you want to do it, but however you do it, it's got to be in a cordoned off area.
Look at Renzo's, they have a court.
Something like Renzo's?
Right? Is that
Am I going to be allowed to, am I going to be allowed to use the side road for something like that? Like right next to the tables, or just fence them? Should I go with to the DCR for that, those things?
DCR is going to tell you how much area they're going to let you use. You have to go by them. Usually, they tell you it has to be roped off.
I see. Okay.
Whatever footage you have, you can't just take the whole sidewalk.
We are limited to the area that we are using right now.
Whatever they tell you to use, that's what you have to go.
Sure. Sounds good. Excellent.
Okay, are we clear?
Excellent. Yep.
Very good. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is item number 5, Akron Motors, Inc., DBA 1A Auto Way, 441 Lee Burbank Highway. Charles Valentin, Mr. President. This is an application for a transfer of a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer's license. The application of Akron Motors, Inc., DBA One-Way Autoway for transfer of a Class 2 motor vehicle dealer's license from Burbank Auto Sales, Inc., said license to be exercised at 441 Lee Burbank Highway. The requested number of cars for sale in the lot will remain at 22, with 4 additional spaces for customer parking. The requested hours of operation are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Speaking on behalf of the corporation.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Joseph Catogio, 1 Sprague Street, Revere, representing the applicant. This application is brought as a condition on a purchase and sale contract between Burbank Auto Sales and Arcon. Both have assisted with this application. Both are Massachusetts corporations in good standing. Both have submitted bonds, both the present bond with the existing business and the proposed bond for the new proposed business. They both have filed business certificates with the city, so they've dotted their I's and crossed their T's. They have completed the inspectional services application and sign-offs from all the departments. I believe a copy has been submitted. I have the original that I'll leave with the clerk. As that was read in the application, the use is not being changed. There's no proposed change in use. There's also no proposed change in capacity. The only slight change in between the present owner and the proposed owner is a slight expansion on the hours of operation. But other than that, it would be an existing business that I do not believe has promoted any problems or concerns in the city at all, to a new business owner using the same business and capacity. These new owners are experienced and look forward to starting this business or continuing this business, starting theirs in the city of Revere, and hopefully a successful long run here. They are both buyer and seller are here in case there are any questions. And again, I'll leave the original application with that.
Thank you, Councilor. Do you happen to know offhand what the current hours are?
I don't believe they're open on Sunday, and they may open at 10 during the week. So that's the change. They're an hour earlier in the day during the week, and they would like a few hours on Sunday from noon to 5.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Council, just one question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you just describe where this property is? I'm familiar with Lee Burbank Highway, obviously, but there's a couple of dealers
I
there.
have the address
I have the
441.
address here, I'm just
What's-
wondering if you can...
What's,
Hitchcock Street.
oh, that's right, the diner.
Yeah, right, you three Hertz is over there, but then there's
So it's a
another
little
one.
before Bell Circle. Yes.
Right at the
Yeah,
top.
as you approach the Bell Circle, it's before the diner that's actually been closed for a while.
Okay.
So- And it's been there at least 15 years. I actually did the original, or a prior incorporation for the existing business back in 2003, I think. So there has been an auto license there for a number of years.
Okay, my colleague said it's at the top of Hitchborn Street, right in that
That sounds right, yes.
that dented area,
Yep,
is that
that sounds
it?
right.
Because there were a couple there, okay.
Yeah.
So... Okay, and you've added more?
Only hours.
No,
Oh,
you've
I'm sorry.
added more customer parking?
Yes, there's for customer parking, but not for capacity, for the number of autos being
It's
sold.
the highway. And then you go down Hitchcock here.
Yeah. So you got this gray area here,
That's it right there.
but no, I'm looking at the two buildings, that's what
Yeah.
it is, so it's all of this?
I think so. Yeah.
So it's all of that shaded area then? So it's that whole corner?
That's the lot, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
and that's, those spaces there are the 4 new customer parking spots?
Yes, there are proposed for that. But again, the capacity is going to remain the same as it has for a number of years, for the number of cars being sold.
For the ones being sold,
Right.
correct? You've only, the added ones are for customers.
But yeah, making sure they have parking, plenty of parking.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. There are no further questions. We will close this section of the meeting. Are there any proponents out there? Anybody that wants to support this? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that section. Are there any opponents? Anybody opposed to this? I don't see any. I will close that part of the hearing as well. I don't really have a problem with this. I don't know if either of my commissioners do.
No.
No, I have no problem with it. I mean, as long as there's plenty of customer parking. So if there's no other questions, I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
The motion is approved for a transfer of a Class II motor vehicle dealer's license from Burbank Auto Sales, Inc. to Akron Motors, Inc., DBA 1A Auto Way. It's for a transfer of a Class II motor vehicle dealer's license. The requested number of cars for sale in the lot to remain at 22, with 4 additional spaces for customer parking. The requested hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Thank you very much. Item number 6, the Revere Lodge Loyal Order of Moose, 1272. This is an application for a change of officers and change of manager. The application for the Revere Lodge Loyal Order of Moose, 1272, for a change of manager to Jennifer Santana from Wesley Clemens, and a change of officers to reflect the new slate of club officers. This is a continuation from our previous meeting. Speaking on behalf of the Moose Club is?
Jennifer Santana.
Very good. And I see that we have gotten all of the paperwork squared away. And we have gotten all of the management and everybody in place.
Yes, sir.
Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, I have no questions, but I'm glad to see it's done.
Me too. Thank you.
I think,
No questions? Okay, so I will close this section. Are there any proponents out there? Anybody want to speak on behalf of this? I don't see or hear any. I'll close that section. Any opponents? Anybody opposed? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that section. I'll make a motion to approve the application for a change of officers and change of manager.
I'll second the motion.
The motion for a change of officer and a change of manager is approved. The Revere Lodge Loyal Order of Moose, 1272, has a change of manager to Jennifer Santana and a change of officers to reflect the new slate of club officers. Thank you very much for your time and good luck.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Item number 7. This is Black Marble Motorcycle LLC, DBA Boston Harley Davidson, 649-1 Squire Road. Heather Vieira, event manager. The application for 7 one-day licenses for malt, common victular, and entertainment. The application of Black Marble Motorcycles LLC, DBA Boston Harley Davidson, for 7 one-day licenses for malt, common victular, and entertainment as follows. Date number 1, 4/27/19 and Sunday, 4/28/19, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for a pre-owned motorcycle sales event. Number 2, Saturday, May 4th, from 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. for a Cinco de Mayo shopping party. Number 3, Saturday, May 18th, 2019, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for a pet adoption day. Item number 4, May 26th, 2019, from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. for a motorcycle rodeo skills games event. Number 5, Thursday, June 13th, 2019, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a car and motorcycle show. Number 6, Sunday, June 23rd, 2019, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. for an additional day of the Wall of Death performance by the Rebel Hell Riders. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Heather Vieira, 13 Jones Street in Everett.
Very good, and I'm assuming that these are going to be run the way your other events are, which is the name tag, wristbands, 2-drink minimum, security roped off in areas. Are these outdoor events or indoor?
3 of them are outdoor events. It's May 26th, June 13th, and June 23rd are outdoor events. We use the metal barricades to block off part of our parking lot for beer consumption.
Very good. Thank you. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about the rodeo. When you say a rodeo, can you explain what that event is?
Yes, it's a motorcycle skills course that we've done for the last few years. Simple skill games, including the slow race, a little more difficult on a motorcycle than you'd think. Riding the plank, 4x4 planks that are put together, and they have to keep both tires on the plank. And then the last game is actually called Roadkill. It's stuffed animals scattered, and they have to use a fishing net with their passenger to pick up the stuffed animals.
Now, where is that going to be held?
That's located in our front parking lot. That, I don't know if you have the parking lot layout, but we actually quarantine it off into multiple sections. There's one section directly in front of the door of our building that we allow for the motorcycle passage to go through, and that's where the skills games are operated. Anyone participating has already signed a waiver and is not allowed to purchase alcohol for the day. And we allow consumption on the opposite side of the barricades that are not in the games area.
Now, how is this going to affect the parking in the front of the building?
So we still have parking along the outer ring, and the parking that is in front of Perfect Dental and Easy Pie is still open. It closes off approximately, we have a small inlet that it closes off so that we can block some traffic. That way they don't drive in front of the dealership, and passing cars go through the outside. However, we do have additional parking in the back of the building for overflow.
Will any of these events be taking part in the back of the building?
No.
Because I think that was the one I attended. They had the racing in the back.
Yes, and with that feedback, we've moved all of our events to the front parking lot.
Okay, well, that's a good idea.
I mean, it gives us better exposure anyways.
I have no other questions.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, so they've had many of these in the last 5, 7, 8 years, however long you've been there. And they've gone, for the most part, you know, pretty smooth and without significant events, so have no issues with granting the 7 permits, or whatever you want to call them. So I would make a motion, unless you still have to do your opponents. Okay, so I'll hold on that, so we'll see what, if there's any opponents.
I would just like to hear from Lieutenant Randall if he has any input on this type of entertainment there.
Like Mr. Vieira said, they've had them for several years now. We haven't had any problems. We don't receive any calls, complaints. We really have no issue with it.
No issues at all. Thank you.
Very good, thank you very much, Ms. Vieira. We'll close this section of the meeting. Are there any proponents out there? Anybody else like to speak on behalf of this? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close that. Are there any opponents? Anybody opposed? I don't hear or see any. I'll close that part. There is a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the seven-day licenses.
Very good. I will second that motion. The motion for the application for your 7 one-day licenses for malt, common victular, and entertainment is approved. The dates are as follows: Saturday, April 27th, 2019, and Sunday, April 28th, 2019, from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. for a pre-owned motorcycle sales event. Saturday, number 2, Saturday, May 4th, 2019, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for a Cinco de Mayo shopping party. Number 3, Saturday, May 18th, 2019, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for a pet adoption day. Number 4, Sunday, May 26th, 2019, from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. for a motorcycle rodeo skills event. And the 5th one will be Thursday, June 13th, 2019, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a car and motorcycle show. And the 6th one would be Sunday, June 23rd, 2019, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. for an additional day of the Wall of Death performance by the Rebel Hell Riders.
Thank you.
Are we missing one?
No, there was 2. That's why.
Oh, I see. Okay, so there were 2 at once. So those are the events. Thank you very much. And those are approved. Okay, that concludes the applications. The next items on the agenda are hearings. Item number 8, at the Beachmont Yacht Club, Inc., 168 Pearl Avenue. John Philip Ferrandi, manager. This is a hearing into an alleged assault on an elderly person, and as well as an inspection issue. However, I believe that issue has been resolved. Is there anybody that would like to speak on behalf of the Beachmont Yacht Club?
Past Commodore John Gallagher.
Very good. And, sir, what can you tell me about this event?
My understanding that there was alleged assault on our property.
Were you present for the event?
Yes, I was. And never happened. There's no truth to it at all. We have video evidence showing surveillance cameras throughout the club. No evidence of it at all. The gentleman has taken us to Chelsea Court, and the courts found no evidence at all. I don't really understand why, but he is bringing this to every audience that he can.
Well, I mean, you know, we're the proper audience for this type of thing. He was a patron, he was at your place, and he feels he was assaulted, and so this is what this is about. Sir, would you like to tell us your part of this?
This might take a little time because, and I have notes, I don't have to read.
All right, if you'd speak into the microphone, please.
I say, I have some notes. I don't have to read, but I don't want to leave anything out. Okay. My name is Peter DiCarlo. Last month I turned 80 years old. I've lived in Beachmont my entire life, 300 yards from the Beachmont Yacht Club. I'm here to speak about an incident that happened on Super Bowl Sunday, February 3rd, a day of friendship and fun. The Beachmont Yacht Club has been in Beachmont for about 100 years. I remember it when I was a kid. It's a well-regarded and respected institution. It's sort of like a landmark in Beachmont, so I don't take this lightly. I am not a member of the Yacht Club. I've never been a member. I know many members over the years. On Super Bowl Sunday this year, I decided to go to the Yacht Club to watch the Super Bowl, all by myself. I've been there on 3 previous occasions for Super Bowls. The only time I would go to watch the Super Bowl at the Yacht Club would be if the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, which I did. Now, on Super Bowl Sunday, they have, it's a party. And they charge, I don't know exactly what it was this year, but in past years it was $75. You'll go there, maybe you can go at 3 o'clock. You can drink soda all day, and they have buffet and food that's either prepared by the club or other people bring. Now, in those previous years, I absolutely, unequivocally had prepaid to go to the club and watch the Super Bowl. One time I brought 3 people, my in-laws. This year, when I went to the club, I had not prepaid. Okay. As I said, I lived 300 yards from the Yacht Club. That afternoon, I hadn't had any alcohol. I don't drink. Might have had a few drinks when I was in college a long time ago. Prior to going to the club, I had dinner, so I had no intention of eating. So I walked to the Yacht Club. I lived 300 yards away. I left my house at 6:15. I know the game's going to start around 6:35. Now I want to describe exactly what happened. When I got to the Yacht Club, I go down the stairs, and I walk up the front stairs, and there's a double door. The outside door is a glass door, and then there's a foyer, and then the inside door, which has a lock on it and everything, is partially open. I walk in, I look around, and it's exactly what I might have expected. People milling around, eating, having a beer, playing squares, getting ready for the game. The game's only like 15 minutes away. So the Yacht Club is only about 70 feet long at the most, maybe 60. I walk from the front door towards the bar, which is about 30 to 35 feet away. I stand about 6-7 feet from the bar. On the right is the kitchen. I see somebody going by, and I asked if a certain member that I knew who worked the kitchen last year was there, and he said, no, he's not here. I stood there for another couple of minutes. I stood there for another few seconds. So I knew a person around the other side of the bar. I saw him, so I walked around that side of the bar and said hello. Might have chatted for 15 or 20 seconds, and I retreated, if you will, to the same exact spot about 6-7 feet from the bar on this side, not on the water side. So I said, gee, I think I'm going to have a drink. So I go up to the bar. I don't recognize the bartender whatsoever. Over the years, I've known many of the bartenders. Didn't matter. So I put a $5 bill on the bar. The bartender comes near there. And I said, so obviously I'm going to order a drink. But everyone else is getting drinks free. I hadn't paid. I didn't have a sign on me that said, "I have not paid today." So I said, "What kind of vodka you have?" Blah, blah, blah. So I settled on a vodka. The drink was brought over to me. So before I could take, the $5 is still on the bar. Before I could even touch the drink, the bartender, in an unfriendly, rude way, said, "You know, this is a private party. You can't stay here." Okay, I say to myself. And then he said, "Drink your drink and leave." So I took the drink calmly, pushed it across the bar, took my $5. I stepped back a few feet, thought about it. Now, I've probably been in the club maybe 4 minutes so far. Maybe 4 minutes so far. So now, when the bartender comes up near the bar again, I said to him, "You know, I lived in Beachmont a long time. Sometime you may need some help or something." He said, "We've been here longer than you." Maybe he didn't exactly say that, but we don't need anybody. Now I stepped back again. And when he came towards the bar, again, I went up to the bar and I swore at him. Because it was so incredulous. I went to watch a Super Bowl. I wasn't going to eat their food. I had reached down prior and ate one shrimp that was near a table. One. So, again, I stepped back. Now I've probably been in the club 5 minutes total since I came through the front door. So, without lingering, I walked towards the back door, the entrance. I stop about 6 feet from the door, and I'm facing the door, and I reach for my cell phone, and I'm going to call a member. Not because I need any help, only because, can you believe this? I came to watch a Super Bowl. I lived in Beachmont my whole life, the Patriots. So I'm facing this way, and all of a sudden, without warning, without salutation, and I said, "What are you doing?" I'm shoving, and I'm pushing, and I'm cursing. And now I'm being pushed, shoved, and thrown 6 feet through the front door, which is still partially open, and thrown onto the foyer on my knees. And on my way out, while I was being assaulted and literally thrown through the door, I'm swearing. And I said to him, not beforehand, because I was a gentleman the whole 6 minutes that I was in the club. I said to him, "I'll kick you right in the..." That was after, and as the door's being slammed in my face. That was it. I walked down the stairs, I walked the 300 yards back to my house, and I watched the game all by myself, which I intended to do at the yacht club. The next day, I went to the police station, I filed a police report. We have the police report. Then at 11:30, I didn't know who the bartender was. I didn't know who the person who assaulted me, but I did know he's about 6'3", and a hell of a lot bigger than me. I wanted to find out who it was. So I found out who the Commodore's name was, and I went down, he was there, spoke with him nicely. I asked him, "Who's the bartender?" Wouldn't tell me. I find out later from some members that his name might have been Ken. Okay, maybe it's Ken. Now, I said, "Well, who's the person that I had the incident with," if we want to describe it that way, instead of an assault, or being literally thrown through the front door. He said, wouldn't tell me, says the Vice Commodore. Now, I still don't have a name. So I went to the licensing board, found out who the Vice Commodore was. That afternoon, with all that, I went to Chelsea District Court. I swore out an assault and battery charge. Written up, fine, no problem. I got a hearing date, 28th of, I believe it was the 28th of February. We had a hearing. I was there, I testified. We were not under oath. 4 people from the yacht club came and testified. They had a joint story, and the magistrate didn't issue a complaint. Now, assault and battery on a person over 65 is a felony. So I suppose the magistrate's got to think long and hard. All right, I'm almost done. In fact, I am done. No, I had contusions on the arm. I went to Mass General twice. That's all gone, of course. And I had a bruised rotor cuff. That's all gone. I have records of that from Mass General and Chelsea. So, in finality, they have tapes in the club to show every single movement. I don't know how many they have. They maybe have 10. I don't know. But they have tapes. I subpoenaed them to Chelsea District Court. They were not shown. They did bring the tapes. So when I was at the bar, and then I swore at the bartender, and I was incredulous, and then after 15 seconds, without lingering, I went to the door to leave. And then I stopped to make that phone call. That's when I was grabbed, pushed, and assaulted. I did not linger. So, again, in finality, I challenge the Yacht Club to prove with their tapes that one single word of what I've said here today is not true. I was in that club 6 to 7 minutes in total. If I was a vagabond and walked in there with no clothes, excuse me, I shouldn't have been treated like that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, let me ask you one question before you go. What would you think would be, what are you looking for here?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me that. Well, what's your point here? I went to Chelsea District Court. Going to file a civil suit? No, I'm not going to do that. Costs a lot of money up front to get an attorney. No, I'm not going to do that. I still like the Yacht Club. I have many of my friends that are mad at me that live in Beachmont. What are you doing? So I had to think long and hard if I'm going to come here. So, no, I'm sure their record is very clean and never had any problems with their license or anything. As I said, it's a landmark in Beachmont. It's well respected. I used to fish for minnows off the pier down there when I was 12 years old. That's a long time ago. So what am I looking for? A few people ask me that. Nothing. Except that person, the Vice Commodore. I want him dressed down.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, would you step up, please? Well, you heard the gentleman. Are there tapes of this incident?
Yes, there are.
Were they viewed in court?
They were presented to court. I don't know if they were viewed.
Very good. And, well, do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Well, I mean, I really don't know what to say. If this did occur, I mean, that someone would be treated like that, especially an elderly person. And
Absolutely.
I would think that the first thing you would want to do is look at the tapes. Did you look at them yourself?
I personally have not. No, the Commodore, Vice Commodore, I've seen them. And they are here today for you folks to view them also if you'd like.
Yeah, I would just like to know when you looked at them, what was on the tapes.
I have the video. They're on my iPad. I would gladly show you. I am the Vice Commodore. My name is Dennis Harrison.
Has Mr. DiCarlo seen those tapes?
No, he has not.
He hasn't?
No, he has not.
Okay, I don't know if my, there's someone up the back. I don't know what.
I'm the common. And the tapes were off to the courthouse, and they didn't want to see him, even though he had them.
Please speak into the mic. They have
Come
them.
up here, sir.
I don't know if I want to see them.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Bob Lawton, Commodore, Beachmont Yacht Club. The tapes were available for the court to look at. We gave them copies of them. I brought them to the police station if they needed copies, because we were trying at the same time to put a no trespassing order on them because of the incident. He got a little carried away. We have copies of them here. We got them on it. You can see them there. We made them. It's the story that he has said. I happened to be sitting there with my wife, which you'll see on the tape. Okay, half of it never happened. He never hit the floor. Nobody threw him out that way. He had a disgusting voice, which even my wife asked me to speak up as the Commodore, to address the situation. All right, he wasn't supposed to be there. Like I said, it was a private function. He was asked to leave nicely by the bartender. He took it, he didn't like it, but like I said, it was a private function everybody paid for. Now, and I said, we have tapes of all the incidents, we have state-of-the-art security for reasons like this here. All right, so if you'd like to see the tapes, he can play it for you. You'll see the gentleman was not thrown to the floor. He was not thrown through a door. It shows him walking down the stairs, talking on his telephone. So that's why we have the security system.
I personally don't really want to see the tapes myself. I would prefer somebody else look at them and maybe make a judgment, and I don't want to put
If
anybody...
the officer would like to look,
I
I
don't
try
want
to
to put
bring him to the
anyone in
police
a
station.
position, but
As far as the police department is concerned, it's already been dealt with at Chelsea District Court. It's no longer a criminal matter.
it's not a criminal matter. I mean, do you feel he could have handled it any differently?
Actually, to be honest with you, we kind of handled it good. He wasn't really tossed around anyway. The gentleman put his arm on him like this here, said, the door's this way. The guy said to him he was going to do a few things to him. He said, yeah, we'll do it outside. So when he walked through the first door, like the tape will show, our first door, the gentleman closed the door and locked it and walked away. Now it shows him walking out our door, fine as a whistle, down our stairs, popping up on his phone, calling his friend, who was a kid who lived up the street from us, who's a member also, and then walking away. I mean, if he was injured or, you wouldn't see it, you know what I mean? And it shows him standing at the doorway. You know, like I said, the tape is nothing wrong. The guy never hit the floor, he did nothing. He was standing there just throwing insult at people.
Do you think in any way you two could just get together and
Well,
somebody apologize?
He came and talked to me, not realizing that I was sitting while the incident was going on with my wife, all right, that you were doing it right behind me. But Dennis is the vice commodore, he's second in charge. So, I mean, he was handling the situation. I didn't see any reason to say, he can stay. I mean, he didn't have a ticket. That was the whole thing. It was a private function. And they didn't forcibly force him out of the building,
When he came in, was he allowed to purchase a drink? To go to the bar and drink?
If he wanted to, but he gave the bartender a hard time. The bartender is the one who slid his $5 back to him, which will show in the tape also, and took the drink away from him. And his time frame is way off because he was around the other side of the bar talking to people for a while. Then he came over and we had a large bowl of shrimp out, cocktail, and he was helping himself to him eating shrimps. You know what I mean? And that's when you said, you weren't, it's a private function.
Well, I don't know, this was in Chelsea Court. This really isn't a court for, me personally, I can't make a decision here on what really took place. I think maybe we owe the man an apology just because of his age, and maybe he didn't understand you could not get in there unless you did pay a fee to enter.
Oh, no, I have no, like I said, I'll apologize for the yacht club, which I did when he came in. It's like, it got out of hand far as, all you had to say was, that you should have been swearing. There was other ladies there. People were there with their wives. It wasn't just all guys hanging around drinking beers, watching a Super Bowl game. There was people there with their wives enjoying dinner, having, we had prime rib dinner, all right? I mean, and he went off. I mean, to the point that my wife was like, can you step up and do something? And I was no farther away from him than you and I are right now. And it's showing, like I said, if you watch the tape, it's showing the tape, I'm sitting right there.
Me, I would be very satisfied as to, dismiss this if we could just apologize and just come to an ending here. I think on both parts, maybe they were being a little aggressive on both sides, from what I hear. And I think that, sure, his language may have been out of control because he was being asked to leave. He thought he was coming to see a game. I mean, I would just like to see you guys just kind of work it out, and things, I think, got out of control.
So, yeah, we have a great reputation with our neighbors. I mean, they all, they know we have the party. A lot of them come to it because they're in the neighborhood and then just can walk across the street and come down. You know what I mean? Everybody knows.
How many people did you have for that event?
Probably about 45.
Oh, that's it. So there was no detail, no need for detail? No.
No.
So, Mr. DiCarlo, do you feel...
I would like to say something as a bartender that day, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, my name is Kevin Drone, former commodore of the Beachmont Yacht Club. I was bartending that day, I've been for the last 15 years down there in the Super Bowl, and I have never seen him once. And the same cooks have been there that have been there the whole time. This is the first time we had different cooks this year. And the gentleman walked in, maybe there's a lot of people there coming in. Sometimes someone brings their aunt, their cousin, their brother, this is my friend. I don't know all the people. I have a list of the people who paid, and I have a list of people that, I question them. I went up to him, he came up to the bar, and I said, can I get you something? I gave him a drink. He says, okay. I says, excuse me. I paid him the drink. I said, can I ask you who you're here with? He says, I'm not here with anybody. I don't need anybody. I come here all the time. I've been coming here way before you. I'm like, whoa. Sir, this is a private club, private function. People paid for this. I live up the street. He must have told me a dozen times how old he is, how he lived up the street. It doesn't give you the right to come in here for the day. I said, what I'm going to do, I already gave you a drink. You can have your drink and finish it, and after that, I'm going to ask you to leave. Bullshit, I'm not leaving. He pushed the drink back to me, gave him his $5 bill back, and I said, then my friend over there, Dennis, he was over in the corner. I was behind the bar, and I just went, get him out. He says he's not going to leave. He says, I refuse to leave. I'm not going to leave. I said, it's a private club. You can't stay here, sir. I've been coming here. He told me that again. How many times have you been coming here? I said, again, you should know that it's a private club, a private function. And this, you just can't walk in the club. I can't just walk in his house, walk in and go in and grab a sandwich. It's his house. You can't do that. And like I said, the reason why I had him handle it, because I don't have the restraints that he does. He handled it. I couldn't believe how he handled it. Walked open the door. The guy kept saying I was going to kick him in the leg, between the legs. Walked up. He opened the door, closed it, said, have a nice day. I'm like, wow, that was really nice. I would have never thought to handle it like that. I always think the wrong way. I would be here for the reasons that he's being charged for. But I've never seen his face before. I've never seen him down here before. We don't have any problem. He just didn't get his way that day, and he's not happy with it. That's about all I can say.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Step up to the microphone, please.
Okay, let's see. I went to the yacht club to watch a game, and I'm going to cause all this trouble. All of their testimony at the Chelsea District Court was not under oath. This is perjurious testimony. I never said any of those things that the bartender said. Exactly what I said is what I said. And then I swore at him. And then when I stepped back, and then I was leaving without lingering, he sigged, if you will, a dog term, the 6'3" Commodore on me. And that's exactly what happened. And I said, I'll kick you in the groin as he's throwing me and pushing me through the door. I'm almost done. I'm going to make all this up? I went to see a Super Bowl by myself. Okay, I made it all up. I went in there. I was drunk. I had no clothes on. I'm eating all their shrimp, and I'm swearing so loud all the women could hear. None of that's true. I'm done. I don't want an apology. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Do you have anything to add?
No, I just think at this point, I think he just had to come here and say his piece. I can't speak for him, but I don't believe, just from hearing from you guys and from knowing a little bit about the yacht club, that there's a lot of issues and problems there. May have been handled differently. Who knows? I'm sure, his word, your word, whatever, but it doesn't sound like he wants to take any specific action other than speaking. So that said, I don't know if we should just table it or just...
Well, we could put the matter on file for a period of time. If there are any other issues, we can bring it back up, but at this point...
He has no right even coming in the club.
Step up to the microphone, please, sir.
But doesn't he have no right even coming in the club? It's a private club, and he knows that. It's private.
understand.
People paid in advance for this thing, and you just can't come and walk in and do that. I wouldn't expect to do that. It's like walking in a wedding, and I expect to have a good fucking time. Good time. You can't do that. I don't think you can do that.
No.
Well, you wouldn't know it's a private party until...
Well, he's been living there all his life. He says he's been down there all the time. It's been a private party since the beginning of time. It's always been that way. It's never changed.
Well,
It's never changed.
Honestly, personally, I don't think anybody should have put a hand on the man.
No.
He is an elderly man.
No one touched
I know
an elderly
I
man.
would be very offended by that. I think maybe there was a better way to handle it. I will agree with you as far as the clubs. I know that they are private. When you buy tickets for especially the Super Bowl, they're private parties. So I agree with you on that. You do have to pay, people that are there paid for a prime rib dinner, and I'm sure you have a number that you have to go by. So I do agree with that. I disagree that anybody should have put their hand on him.
There was no hands put on anybody, absolutely no
Well,
hands
I
put.
think you said
We
in your
wouldn't
own
bring the-
testimony that he took him by the arm.
We wouldn't bring the tape in to show that we manhandled him. I mean, we got
I-
the state-of-the-art camera system in there, we got 16, 20 cameras in there.
Well,
That's
I-
to protect us from things like this. We
I
don't-
think, as you said, though, it was played out in court, and I don't think I even want to see the tapes. If Mr. DiCarlo wants to go further, he should be given those tapes so that he can see exactly what happened, and I think that should be between the club and Mr. DiCarlo. As far as placing it on file, I don't see enough to place it on file and bring it up again. So I would dismiss it, as Chelsea Court did. I would dismiss it. If Mr. DiCarlo's is accurate on what happened, he should be giving a copy of those tapes and carry it further. If what he said is true, shame on the club.
None
But I
of that is
think
absolutely true, ma'am.
Well, that's your word, and that's up to him to
Well,
pursue
that's why the tape
it.
would prove that.
Okay, so it's up to him to pursue it, so.
The tape would definitely prove that. You watch it, you're like, huh, no one?
Yeah.
He did a simple, come on, you gotta go, you gotta go. And he says he's not leaving, he wouldn't leave, he says, I'm not leaving. You have to
Can I
leave.
say a word? Sure. My name's Dennis Harrison, the vice chairman of the Beachmont Yacht Club. I was asked to have a conversation with Mr. DiCarlo. I've been in the security business all my life. I worked in clubs in Revere. I worked at the Lido when it was the Wonderland. I worked at Atlantic Lounge. I've never been in front of you. I am now presently in security. That's why I was asked to approach him. When I approached him, I asked him if he was a member. He told me no. I asked if he was with a member. He told me no. I asked if he purchased his ticket. He told me no. I said, excuse me, sir, you're going to have to leave. At that point, he said, I will kick you in the balls, which everyone there saw. I said, sir, come on, you got to go. At that point, I put my hand on his back. I used the least amount of force necessary. I walked him to the front door. When we got to the front door, he told me he wanted to go outside and fight me. I said, okay, sir, if that's what you want. He walked out the door. I shut the door behind him. I went down and I sat down. Thank you.
But I would say, in the future, if it would me, so that you don't end up here and you don't end up in Chelsea Court, if someone is like that and you have the right to ask them to leave if it's a private party, maybe the best thing would have been to call the police department and have them have him removed.
In the future.
I
didn't
would,
think Mr. DiCarlo would escalate to the point that he did.
well,
That was a mistake in my judgment. I apologize for that.
I would definitely let the police handle that. I would never touch any patron. I don't think you have the right to do that, and he is an elderly man. So at this point, I think it's entirely up to Mr. DiCarlo how he wants to handle this, if he wants to go forward. If you're offering the tapes, you can give him the tapes, but at this point, I'm going to make a motion to dismiss this. I don't think this should be placed on file. It does leave a mark on your file. And if you have that proof, I personally don't want to see it. If you do have that proof, I think you should hand it over to Mr. DiCarlo and let him look at it. He said he wasn't able to see it in Chelsea Court.
I'll second that
So
motion.
at that, let's just end it
He
there.
is still coming on the property. You know, he comes on the top of the property, he walks around, and comes in. He's not allowed on the property. Yeah, he's looking for some reason. We did, the cop said, call us when it happens. By the time you call him, he's going to be gone. He has been seen on a regular basis wandering around the property. What he's trying to do there, we don't know.
Well, sir, you do
So what-
have cameras. You
Yeah.
said you have cameras.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so you take
But
cameras.
what he's
and
trying to
again,
do, we don't know why he's on the property still. At
think
this
it's-
point in age, he's still trying to harass us for some reason. I
I
just don't
still
get it.
think it's a police matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're gonna dismiss it, based on what we heard. And, so I second that motion.
The motion to dismiss this matter is approved. I'd go on record to say that I would prefer it to be on file. The next matter is item number 8.
Thank you.
This is, I'm sorry, item number 9. This is 388 Broadway LLC DBA Volare. Cecilia Maya is the manager. This is in a hearing into possible violations, including service of intoxicated patrons and failure to properly control the licensed premises. Anybody on here behalf of the corporation?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, James Sippoletta, 385 Broadway, Revere, on behalf of the licensee, Cecilia Meyer. To my right is the manager of record.
Thank you very much, Counsel. Do you have anything to say about these incidents or issues?
I would want to start by thanking the commission for paying attention to our request to reopen this hearing. There was some difficulty with the establishment receiving the certified notice from the Postal Service. It was actually picked up on a date after the hearing. It was received on 27 March. The hearing, I think, was on the 20th of March. But I thank the commission for that, and the licensee regrets that nobody was here to represent them on the day of the hearing last month, but they are prepared to address the issues in the order that they're raised in the notice. I did open the notice and see that the commission has pointed out an incident. It's not, I think it's one incident. Looks like February 26th that a patron left the establishment, drove up the street, and was involved in an accident. The video surveillance that was kept in-house was turned over to police. The result of the accident, apparently, according to the notice, indicates that the blood alcohol level of the driver was above the legal limit, and he had been in the establishment for an hour and 45 minutes. I have not viewed the tape. I do not know whether or not there was any indicia of intoxication shown on the video. From inside, I think the police were more interested in knowing about the driver and the contents of the car. Apparently, when there was a search incident to arrest, turned up something that certainly was not in the establishment but may have been in the vehicle. The second alleged violation is a failure to prevent disorder, disturbance, and illegality on or around the licensed premises. I am understanding that to mean or relate to the incident with the driver, because I do not have any notice of any other disorder, disturbance, or illegality on the licensed premises. If there is some report that indicates that, or a video that was handed over to police, we haven't seen it.
I believe Lieutenant Impember is here, if you'd like to hear from him.
Sure, I think that makes sense to have Lieutenant.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Lieutenant, if you could enlighten us on this situation, please.
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Impember with the Revere Police Department. As I spoke at the meeting last month and briefly touched base on the incidents that have occurred at Valari, I just can't get into great detail because they are ongoing criminal matters and they're open cases at this point in time. Chris has been cooperative during the investigations, turned over any video that we've asked for inside and outside of the establishment. You know, that's never been the issue. The issue is just the clientele and the crowd he's attracting at the certain hours, at the late hours in the night that he's attracting this crowd, and it's ending up in problems for the establishment.
Very good. Can you go through and address just quickly the attorney's question regarding the video of the intoxicated individual? I mean, we're not using any names or anything, so I'm just wondering if you could.
We do in fact have video from that particular incident that shows this specific individual leaving the establishment and driving away.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay.
And if I could just ask, have there been any incidents in the past month?
No, the last documented incident we had was this particular one on February 26th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Lieutenant. We don't want to get in the middle of a criminal investigation the Revere Police Department is conducting. I think Chris, who took the film from the video recording mechanism, has been cooperative, as has the staff at the establishment. I'm not sure that there is a lot of evidence at this point to indicate that there was an egregious violation by the establishment. I'm sure that at some point when the case concludes and there are other charges that are resolved unrelated to this, then maybe some of that evidence will come to light. But at this point, Cecilia has talked to the woman who was the waitress who attended to that individual that night, and by best accounts, the individual had purchased alcohol at the bar, was seated at the table with friends, went to the bar, did not exhibit any indicia of being intoxicated. Someone at the table did buy additional rounds or additional alcohol. At that point, they were served, the table was served, and nobody noticed that the individual walking out of the establishment was exhibiting any manifestations of being intoxicated, either before or after they were served. I'm not going to quibble and argue with the BAC. It is what it is, and that's for a defense lawyer in Chelsea Court, everywhere it is, to take that up. Cecilia has 4 of their private security people there when it's crowded and they're having some sort of an activity, or it's after the ordinary dining hours, and 1 Revere police detail. Based on what the evidence is and whether or not the establishment knew or should have known that the person was at the limit where he should not have been served, I think the penalty that's been imposed on the establishment, which now has been served for a month, to roll those hours back and such and put restrictions on them, I think is more than sufficient under the facts of this case. They've been punished. They know what's happening. They know what is expected of them, and they've gone through. I went through that checklist, and I think we have been here before the commission with that checklist that the commission had issued, I think a year ago, October, wherever when it was. And I went over with them again and said, have you complied? Have you complied? Is this what you're doing? They're not letting people in after 12:30, and the music goes dead at 1 a.m. And I would ask most respectfully that the commission reconsider the penalty, deem it having been served 30 days with the rollback and the other restrictions, and to restore the license to its previous status. If there are any other conditions or any other things that the commission would want Cecilia or her employees and her management staff to put into place, she'd be happy to do it. I can't think of, off the top of my head, anything else that they could possibly do to make the establishment more secure. They do understand that they need to be more attentive to people, especially when they're in groups, and somebody may be served personally 1 beer or 1 drink, but then somebody else buys something for them, and that sometimes is hard to keep track of, but she understands she needs to be cognizant of that and be aware.
Thank you, Councilor. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
Well, I have a couple of concerns about the venue they have there. I saw a flyer, I think it was last month, that doing live videos. And of course, we can't do that. That's against the law. City of Revere can't do it. We have to get permits and whatnot, and they're doing videos and different kind of entertainment that does not come under their entertainment license. So, it just seems that this is the crowd they're bringing in. This is what you want in there. The advertising I saw didn't look like a place that isn't going to have some problems down the road.
I heard that some of that testimony when I watched this on Revere TV last month about the video, and we talked about that. Apparently, the entertainment for that night was doing a promo, and somebody was going to come in and take some footage, and Valari's name was going to be on it, and they were going to get some free publicity and whatever the branding of this entertainment group or person. That was going to be their advertising. It wasn't as if they were shooting a video. And
well,
I know
the advertising, I don't have the wording of it I think Lieutenant Randall just had the photo of it. Just the way you're advertising your drinks to come and drink.
Come and drink and watch the video. I
No,
didn't read it that way,
isn't,
but I...
exactly what it said. Chris Flint music video, shoot for Love the Way You Drink. That would attract who? You know, to me, this is, you talk about over-serving, come and drink. We love the way you drink here, you know? I think
Probably
my
not the
colleagues have
best
seen
wording that they could have used. I agree. Probably not the best.
Yeah, the advertising, and it matters, there's a lot of nice restaurants. Basically, it's a good restaurant. After people have dinner, I don't know what crowd you're bringing in after dinner, but certainly with that advertising, you're getting what you're advertising for. And shooting videos or advertising the drinks like that, you're going to get more younger people going in there drinking. I just think that, you know, out of all of the businesses in the city, we've seen you the most. We don't see anyone. Actually, we have very few restaurants that come before us. And it seems like once a month we hear something about Folari's. And concerned, we have concerns from the police department. You know, so I don't know in what direction. I like to hear from my colleagues in what direction they think this should go.
Well, from my perspective, the problem here is that you folks are not securing the place properly, okay? Either your security is inattentive. It would seem that 4 people for the size of that location would be adequate, in addition to a detail officer. But they must not be paying attention, because it would seem if you were paying attention, you wouldn't be having a lot of these issues that you're having. And what it comes down to is I don't think anybody is against your establishment or people don't want you to succeed. It's quite the opposite. But by the same token, we have a responsibility to protect the neighborhood and protect the people who go in there. And I got to be honest with you, people have gone to other establishments looking for jobs that worked at your place, and one of the reasons they give is, I don't feel safe in there. So I don't know what kind of a crowd you're attracting, but it's not working. It's not working for the city. The police are always in there. It's just, that is a problem, and you need to address that. If you can't address that, you're going to be up here every month, and your hours will be winnowed down. One of the ways people address it is with a dress code. There are other things you can do, but you need to pay attention to this, because this is going to ruin your business. It's already creating havoc for you. I mean, I was amazed the amount of people that came up to me after the board closed you at 11 o'clock and said, you know, that's a great thing you did. People are fed up with what's going on at your establishment, and you need to address that.
Mr. Chairman, I don't disagree with anything you said, nor with what Commissioner Guanasso said. I think the security people, to an extent, and maybe the detail officer, but that's probably not his main function, is to try to keep the peace, prevent disorder, prevent fights, keep people away from each other in troublesome situations. And I think it's one of those problems where you focus your attention over here in trying to keep the crowd civil and avoid disorder and illegality and fights on the premises, and I think that's been successful, but I'm not sure that they're watching necessarily to see what the waitresses see, and I think that's something that they've undertaken since then. I think also whatever the disorder that had occurred on the premises, you know, months back when we were here before the commission, that's been abated. I think their security has done a good job. The wait staff may need to be and is going to be more attentive to who they're serving and how they're serving.
Well, I would think that over-service and fights and problems kind of go hand in hand.
Oh, indeed, they do.
And so, you know, the over-service problem, I understand you want to make money, but you have to be responsible about it. You can't just be letting people leave your place driving down Park Ave, whacking into cars and smashing into people. That's just not going to work. Do you have anything to add, Commissioner? Yeah.
So I guess my fellow commissioners have said mostly what I was going to say, but it seems like you have a problem defining what your establishment is. Is it a nightclub, or is it a restaurant, or is it both? Because obviously, if it's a nightclub, most of the problems you're having is during the night, the club time. Because I guess we have no issues with the restaurant time. So, and that's why I proposed, keep them open till 11 last time and shut down the nightclub after that. So, let me ask you, do you see any issues you're having right now? Do you see?
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I was there the night that gentleman left the restaurant. I was there. They walked in. Oh, it might have been 11:15. I was seated maybe, 40, 50 feet away from them. He walked in with 3 other people, 2 girls and 1 other gentleman. It was approximately maybe 10 past 1. That's when my husband and I were leaving, because it was quiet. There was maybe 1 other table with 3 other people left, and that was it that night. And the gentleman that was caught drinking and driving, he had his buddy outside waiting, because as we were walking out, the person outside kept saying, I just want to come in because I need to pick up the keys. I'm the one that's driving. So I said, he should be out shortly. But because our security would not let his buddy come back in, because the 2 girls and the other guy had already walked out, and they were just waiting for him to come out. But because the other person outside, and if you look at the video, there's the little foyer where the security stands or the police detail stand, that's where this other gentleman that was waiting for the intoxicated guy to come out in order to get the keys so that they could leave. So I was surprised to hear or to know that this incident occurred. That's that. And then the only other incident or fights, I really don't see or hear the amount of fights that you believe that we have. I think that occasionally, and maybe, I won't even say once a month, because it doesn't even happen once a month. Most of the people that go there, they know each other. Most of them are friendly. And I know we had, I don't know if it was late January, I don't remember when, that it was that one gentleman slapped another one in the face. Security, everyone, all the 4 guys came in, stopped it, and it ended there. But like I said, I don't see that we have as many problems as you believe that we do. But if the police officer says that there's more, then maybe he would probably, they probably document it, and I don't have it. But we will try to do everything in our power to correct whatever it is that we're doing wrong, to try and then deter certain people from coming in, which we really have. At the door, Luis, which is our head security, he's been there, he's been with us for 5-6 years. He knows everyone that walks into that establishment, everyone. And many times he said, do you remember so-and-so? Yes, I do, because he was a security at my other establishment. And so he says, he tried to come in saying that, he knows the owners, but I didn't let him in because of whatever. So he knows everyone, and he tries to prevent incidents beginning there by not allowing people that he knows that would cause us problems. I'm sorry that, that we're going through this, and I know, if anything, it hurts us. It hurts our bottom line, because it's tough for us to make our payments every week or every month. So again, I'm sorry. I will try to do everything in our power to change whatever we need to change. Like you mentioned, dress code. We had a dress code implemented in the past, but if you notice, everyone today wears a cap, and everyone today is wearing hoodies. And it's, we try. We tried to keep them from coming in, and so we lost many clients because they wanted to come in with hats and hoodies. And so it's like, okay, what are we going to do? We need to pay the bills, but we will be more vigilant. We will try to keep everything under control. We'll do whatever you recommend that we do to try to keep everything at a, at a good level, both on our end and for, your end or the city's end.
Thank you very much.
To hear what the officer
yes,
has to say about what she's just...
Lieutenant, would you be able to address some of this? Particularly the frequency of incidents and number of incidents, and if you can think of something that you think might help them address some of the things, the concerns that you have.
The frequency of incidents is a little more than they think, only because the detail officers they do call for additional units down there if there's an incident taking place. A lot of them are documented. Certain lieutenants that are on the overnight shift get into the habit of sending marked cruisers down there around that 1:30, 2 a.m. time frame to prevent any incidents, which is, it's a safety precaution. As the board mentioned earlier, and it just came up again, and I think it's the precautions that the establishment needs to take in order to kind of change the crowd that's being drawn into this establishment, especially at the later hours during the night. I mean, I know for a fact that I know younger kids, my daughter's age and her friends, that if they want to go to a nightclub in Boston, they know if they're not dressed appropriately, they're not getting in. And maybe it should be, implemented in this establishment. If I want to go to Valaria, I shouldn't have a hat and a hoodie and work boots on. If there's a dress code, I think you'll see a different crowd coming in. And I think the DJ, my opinion is it a restaurant or is it a nightclub? It's got to be one or the other.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Appreciate it.
I don't get where the nightclub's coming into this. This is a restaurant license. It's not a nightclub license. It is a restaurant license. So it's illegal for you to run a club license. Okay, so if you're changing it to a nightclub after hours, that's a violation of your license. Okay, food is supposed to be served. What time do you close your kitchen?
Well, it actually, we do Uber Eats until 1:30. So the kitchen is open until 1:30. People order pizza, like chicken wings, French fries, the arancinis, up until 1:30.
Okay, but you can't advertise this as a nightclub.
Okay, I'll have to double check.
Okay, I have a couple of flyers, okay.
Well, right, no, I was trying to
Okay.
figure out, what we advertise, but all right.
It still should be a restaurant, same as the other restaurants in the city. I just feel that, as my colleagues feel, the neighbors are thrilled with your new hours. I have to be honest with you. I've gotten more calls that they can sleep, they can relax because of the noise leaving your... I don't think you realize how you're affecting people in the area. And the city's taxes, to tie up the police every night, as the officer just said, they have to come by. We're paying for them. Okay, that's our tax dollars. We shouldn't have to pay to police your business. Something's wrong, and I have to tell you, the rest of the city, we don't hear this. Okay, especially from our restaurants. Actually, we only have 2 nightclubs, and I haven't heard from them either. I think, honestly, you've got to set a clock at what time you're going to lock your doors. I know in Malden, you can't get in a bar in Malden after 1 o'clock. The doors are locked. No more entrances into the lounges.
Right, ours is at 12:30.
You just said that someone was getting in there at 1:15, that he knew
No, it's
him.
because, right, it was that night that incident occurred in, was it January, February, the drunk driver? There were 4, originally he came in with 2 girls and another guy, there was 4 of them. So one of the guys and the 2 girls, they walked out, not realizing that they couldn't come back in because it was past 12:30. So our security, Lewis, was telling him, I'm sorry, I can't let you back in. We can't let anyone in after 12:30. He says, well, I'm waiting for my buddy. He has the car keys. I'm the driver. All right, tell him to let's go, that I'm waiting for him. That's what I said. It wasn't that he was trying to come in. He was already there, had gone out and wanted to come back in, and security wouldn't let him back in. But we don't allow people in after 12:30.
After 12:30.
Yep. Nick Molason, 143 Lantern Road. I'm one of the security staff. It's been a rule since I've worked here, since you guys implemented a couple of years ago. 12:30, we lock the door. Even if someone's there, wants to go out and smoke a cigarette, they can't come back in. You can't go smoke, you gotta wait, smoke when you leave. So no one comes in after 12:30.
Well, we know people coming in at 12:30, 1 o'clock, have already been elsewhere.
And that's the
So
reason
you're
why
gonna-
that's the reason why we kept it that way.
It's where they've had their last drink, not where they drank all evening.
Correct.
So that's something I would be very careful about.
Sir, are you the security person for?
One of the security staff, yes, sir.
And tell me about your duties there. What, are you in a fixed post position, or are you
We
walking around the
strategically-
place?
Well, we strategically place 3 of the security staff, and usually one of us is walking around, to make sure that there's no arguments going on, or potential to be an argument, or if anyone's, it seems to be a little intoxicated, or anything like that, they get cut off, you know what I mean? Either the bartender will tell me, the bartender, one of the servers will say, Nick, this person's, they've had too much, we're not gonna serve them no more. So I tell the person, give them a glass of water, and then I say, it's time to go, you've had a little too much.
Are you in clothing that defines you as security? Is there security
Yeah, we have
uniform kind of deal?
Sure, say staff and security.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And is there anybody in there that is elevated a little bit, maybe up over the crowd or just a bit to look and be able to see over their heads? Is there a situation like that, or is that something, do you think would
There
aid?
isn't, but I can see it, it probably could be, we could implement a spot where someone can be standing on whether it's a little stool or some sort of a platform so they can kind of see up over everybody. Yep.
Okay, do anybody else have any questions, or?
I'm trying to figure out what we solved. I mean, I know you got that criminal issue going on, and that aside, I'm just looking at, what do we do moving forward? I don't think much has changed. You still have, will you be changing the dress code? That's my first question, because there's a few other restaurants I know in the city will not allow anybody with caps on or hoodies. And they have a little bit of an older crowd. It's a well-established restaurant. And the opportunity a little younger. But my point is, will you consider a dress code, number one? Because that's probably going to help a little bit. Based on the office's feedback on the number of incidences that have happened, seems like it's some discrepancy from what you said. So he's in communication with the police department. So I got to tend to side with him a little bit more. So with that said, it seems like and some of the incidents is very severe. That's without, you might not think there's a lot, but when you do have them, there's some serious things going on. So I didn't hear anything up here that's going to say, wow, let's give them the hours back, 2 o'clock, everything should be fine.
I'm sorry. When you're done, if I can just say one thing.
So talk to me.
So we had, and there is a police detail there, and say if we have an incident, and I remember one not that long ago, a gentleman was, I don't know if he pulled another guy's ponytail or something, and we broke it up immediately. There was no fight. But in the midst of this, the officer gets, and I trust every officer that works there because I'm friends with all of them, he calls for backup just in case. So the incident might have only been at a level 1 or a 2, but when it gets called in, all of a sudden you get 7 or 8 cruisers pulling up state police, and it looks a lot worse than what it is. So am I saying there have been some incidents that have been bad? Yeah, of course there has. There has been a few. But some of them are not that bad. They call it's just in case. Unfortunately, it makes us look bad because now it's on record as Vari had another call, and there was 8 cruisers outside. So we do our best to work with every officer that's there, but for an incident where we broke up immediately within seconds, why are we calling for backup? And I know why they call for backup, because we don't want it to get any worse, but it's also hurting us at the same time.
Yes,
Making
on
us
the other
look
hand, excuse me, go ahead.
Is that the protocol to automatically call for backup?
It's a physical altercation.
Physical.
When everyone files out at the end of the night, the officer doesn't want to be by himself.
Well, I have to be honest with you. pro calling the police department. We just had an incident where the police department should have been called. On the other hand, when you do call the police department, and from what I've read, it usually says, no problem, crowd dispersed with no problem. So we don't take that into consideration. I would rather have the police called than you yourself having to physically.
And Commissioner, and I agree with you to a point. I agree with you 100%, not even to a point. But when there's 7 or 8 cruisers that pull up, the neighbors also had a 7 or 8 cruiser, people driving by, another incident in Valari when it really wasn't that bad of an incident. So I'm pro for calling the police too, because I'd rather have them there than not be there, because I don't want to have someone accuse me of assault and battery and now I have a charge. So I'm pro for calling them too, but it just makes us look bad sometimes. And I'm not saying not to call, because I always want to call, because I never want an incident to be escalated and I never want an officer to get hurt. So I'm all for calling too, but it's just, some of the calls may be a lot less than what we think they are. That's all I'm stating.
Well, we read the bottom line on those calls anyways, and again, I would still say, I would recommend you call the police. No matter what happens, they disperse very quickly. I mean, if it's a small incident.
Move the crowd a little faster when
Right.
the police are there. It does.
Thank you very much, sir. Counsel, do you have anything else to add?
No, I have been noticing, and I think the commission's probably in a better position than I am to notice, but the trend is with a lot of the restaurants, especially both inside of Boston, excuse me, and outside, is later in the day, after you stop serving dinner, they have entertainment, or they have it at the last hour of dinner, and then it goes, the crowd does change a little bit. People tend to come out a little later. If they're younger, they may come out even later than that. And it's a way to keep places open. And this is not just specific to Valari. It's what's happening in the food and entertainment industry. You can't survive on a single source. Just serving hamburgers to 60-year-olds until 10 o'clock and then close the doors, because that just is not viable too. But I think they do have enough in security protocol and other things going on. Detail is definitely a step in the right direction. Enforce security people in a building that's not that big, I think, is sufficient. It seems that it would be enough to be a deterrent, and if it's not a deterrent to the individual with that kind of a personality, there are enough of them there to intervene so nobody gets hurt.
Very good. Thanks, Counselor. I think, one of the things that you guys are going to have to think about.
Is there anyone else here to speak?
I don't know. But one of the things you're going to have to think about is changing the culture there. And that's going to take a little bit of doing through diligent security and proper alcohol management. You can do it. And I'm hoping that you guys do it, because I think people want to see businesses thrive in the city. So, I mean, I'd be willing to lift the 11 p.m. Curfew, and I'd make a motion to open until 1 a.m. And we'll see how that goes for a period of time. And I don't know how my fellow commissioners feel about it, but I think, that would give them opportunity to expand their business a little bit, and also give the city somewhat of a feeling that they have some control over this situation. It's not a 2 a.m., everybody from every other place coming there kind of thing. So I don't know how my fellow commissioners feel about it, but I would be interested in a motion for a 1 a.m.
See if there were any opponents.
Yes, okay. This is a hearing, so I will close this section. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of the business? Anybody else that would like to comment on anything to do with the business at all? Your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Chris Salerno, Cottage Street, Chelsea, Massachusetts. I just want to say, you guys are up here, some of you say, you have complaints against us, and a lot of people are happy that we're closed. But I can get thousands of signatures and people that live in Revere that say they're sorry for what happened to us. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, I feel like everything's against us, and we have a lot more people that are for us than you think. So,
I would beg to differ, but I'm not going to get in that conversation. My suggestion would be that you take this kind of seriously. All right, and the amount of people that are going to come and support you is immaterial. You have issues with your place that you need to deal with, and bringing in a bunch of signatures is not one of them. So, very good.
We have a lot of support.
Well, again, I don't want to get into it too, but, let's not get into that. They may not live in the area either and don't see, as Nick just said, 7 cars pulling up, someone pulled a ponytail. But the people that live there see it.
Oh, you're right.
So,
Yeah.
they come from all over the city. So again, we go by the reports that we get, not.
No, I get it.
And just to make it clear, I don't think anybody on this board is against you, okay? We are for the city, and you are part of the city. That's right. Well, you're for the city, but if you really want to be for the city, you can't be over-serving people and letting them drive around the streets. You can't be having a place that workers are afraid to work in. So, I understand you are for the city, but you're going to have to take some steps here. So I will reiterate the motion for a 1 a.m. closing.
I'll second the motion.
The motion is approved to open your restaurant, not at 11, but until 1 a.m. We will put that on a probationary period for 1 year, and we will go from there.
And
Would the entertainment license be restored as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
But also, remember, any different events that you have out of what's on your application, you've got to notify the board. You cannot just have events there without notifying us.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Does this prevent them from applying for the additional, can they come back and things have been going, at some point, things have been going well, can they come back and ask to increase that to 2?
Sure, they can come back at any time. But there is one thing that was just brought to my attention. There is an issue regarding a fire inspection, a fire inspection report. Do you know anything about that? Is that?
The fire department did come in and they did a walkthrough and they passed us. I think you're talking about the DJ with the automatic shut-off.
Yes, that's the thing I was talking about, right. So the entertainment license would be restored, provided that's,
We have that.
yes,
That,
the kill switch.
yep.
All right, so I mean, I think it's fairly easy to put in. I mean, I'm not an electrician, but it kills the power.
We'll
so
figure
that,
it out. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, everything
makes
would be
sense.
restored as it was, provided that, that piece of equipment was there. And also that, you can come back at some point when you have somewhat of a track record and maybe we can revisit it. But at this point, I think we're comfortable with 1 a.m.
So does that device have to be approved by the fire department? Do we have to call them in at some point?
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to get it signed off on, so whatever that takes. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's gonna be much other than here's the switch, it works, and
I
that's
think it's
that.
when the alarm goes off, the volume of the alarm shuts the speakers off.
Yeah, I'm not really certain about what they're looking for there. I know it's something to do with public safety and people being able to hear direction rather than trying to yell over music and stuff like that. So that's their prerequisite. So once you satisfy that, we should be all set.
Very well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So when does that happen? When do we change the hours? I don't know. Is that
I beg your pardon?
sent to us? Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
We had one more on the agenda. I see that he didn't show up. No one showed up to that bakery. What
Oh,
was that,
the
Ramada?
Ramadan extension?
Where did I put it?
Yeah, there's no one here for that.
Well, we can, I have no problem approving it unless something comes up that the ward counselor has some input that we didn't know of. We can always, again, that's the leeway we have, we can roll it back if we have to, for some reason, if there's some, I personally don't like approving anything unless the applicant is here. But as Commissioner said, there's no time to hold it over another month. So we can approve it, and if for some reason we have to roll it back, we can roll it back again. If you want to go, no.
What's your feeling on this, Commissioner LaCroix?
I just, like I said, I like to be represented here. I mean, it's only fair for everybody else who showed up, so I have a difficult time approving this, even, you know.
Again, it's very highly residential also.
Exactly.
And he come in for the 10 o'clock license because of that reason.
Correct. So I have a problem with approving it without him here. It's not fair for everyone else who does show up. That's just my opinion.
Well,
Very good. I think we'll table this for 1 month.
motion?
Well, I'll make a motion to table it. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion is approved. The application has been delayed for 1 month. That concludes the hearings and applications. The next section is communications. Notification from the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission of its approval of the application of Domino's Restaurant, Inc. for a new all-alcohol general on-premises license. Notification from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission of its approval of an application for White Label LLC DBA Easy Pie for an alteration of premises. A return of no action from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission on the application of Ocean Liquors, Inc. for a change of offices. Number 4, a return of no action for the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission on the application of 306 Revere Street LLC for a transfer of an all-alcohol restaurant license. Number 5, notification from the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission of its approval of an application of Suntournat, Inc., DBA Rice Passion, for a change of manager. License renewal, Common Victular, Squire Road Station, Inc., DBA Noir Market, 174 Squire Road. Entertainment, Squire Road Station, Inc., DBA Noir Market, 174 Squire Road. All Alcohol Club, Revere Lodge Loyal Order of Moose, 1272 470 Broadway, Revere. That concludes the communications. I will make a motion to adjourn until, yes, sir.
Our process was before, when we had a DJ, we had to have a police detail. So until we get that switch put in for the fire department and we don't have a DJ, do we still need to have the detail on Friday and Saturday nights? Okay, I thought it did. If it didn't,
No, I don't think
My
that it was
misunderstanding.
contingent on a DJ. I think it was just necessary.
On the Friday and Saturday?
For that.
Okay, I just wanted to establish
Okay.
that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming up here and telling us about the security. Thank you. May 15th. I would make a motion to adjourn until May 15th, 2019.
Second the motion.
The motion is approved. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.